welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you guys came over today to see another brand new video. So if it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Lacey and I usually make videos on what God is doing in my life every day. I just feel like you don't live 24 hours without some kind of purpose. You don't live this 24 hours without God speaking to you, or you learning something new, or even if it hasn't come to fruition, I think that ideas and things are still in your head. And I really just wanted to document that because I felt like I knew God was working in my life, and I knew that I had changed immensely, but I couldn't pinpoint what really was going on. So I decided to make videos like this and document what God was doing. So let me tell you about today. So today I was doing some research because I have a couple of different Bible studies that I lead and I do research for. And I was doing some research and listening to some sermons and things like that. And most of the time I'm doing research about like cultural context, because I'm a really big cultural context person in the Bible, if you guys didn't know. And so I like to, when we're studying a book of the Bible, I really like to make sure like we're getting all the cultural context, and then we can really understand the text better. So it's kind of something that I nerd out on a little bit. But today I was listening to a sermon, and no joke guys, like for one chapter of the Bible, like I'll listen to like 5 different sermons, like I'll read commentaries, like I really try to be thorough. And so I was listening to this sermon, and I couldn't even tell you if it was in the sermon or if it was in my head. I don't know. This is how I know it was God. Like, this is how I know, because I couldn't tell you. And all of a sudden I just was like writing something down at the top of my paper, because I'm like a super note taker anyway. I wrote love, and I wrote tolerance and acceptance. Now, it was just kind of this key to make me understand that's not really what it was about. What it was about was they were talking about loving your neighbor. And the other day, I had this kind of epiphany that somebody else really said. It wasn't even just me. They were saying, you know, if you can get the first 2 commandments, like everything else falls into place. So if you can love God and love your neighbor, like everything usually falls into place, because they're the hardest ones, right? And for like, they could be 8 different videos on themselves. But what I really wanted to say was, think about it. Loving your neighbor, sometimes I feel like we believe that accepting people and tolerating what they're choosing to do in their life is love. Now, I don't even know if I have the answer here. I really don't. I would love to just tell you, oh yeah, and then I did all this research and I figured this out, but I haven't. And I have just been praying about it, like off and on all day. Since it's happened to me, I have just been praying about it. I even brought it up in my Bible study because I thought, well, like somebody should have some insight, right? And one of my girlfriends was talking, and she was saying like, you know, I think a big key is being kind. But I see where you're going, and I really wonder what that's all about. Like, the point would be like, what does loving your neighbor truly mean? Like, what does that look like? If you were going to apply that to your daily life and say, hey, I'm going to start loving people like God said and love my neighbor, what does that look like? I know we live in a world where people accept and tolerate things, and they equate that to love. And the thing I figured out tonight was that love your neighbor means something beyond that. And I think acceptance and tolerance isn't love for people because of everything going on in the world. This is right before the election and in 2020. And I think that most people want to be accepted and they want to be tolerated, but they want to do whatever they want. And that's a fair statement. But I do think that there's more to love than that. I think there's more to love your neighbor than that. Not that you are supposed to condemn people, and not that you're supposed to be unkind to people, because you're absolutely not supposed to. But I think there's more to this idea of love your neighbor than just, here, I'm going to tolerate you and I'm just going to accept what you're doing. And I think you can have love without both of those things. I think you can have deep love and not agree on those things. I don't know how it looks. I don't know how to get there. I don't know the steps. But I felt like at least I wanted to document that and just put it out there in the world that there's something more to love your neighbor than to be accepting and tolerant and just kind. There's more to it, and I don't know what it entails, and I'm just going to pray about it and see what God does. And I'm hoping that there will be another video that says, hey, like, I figured it out. God spoke to me and I got this. But I wanted to put it down there. I wanted you guys to know, like, sometimes I think we think these things because God wants us to go deeper, because he wants us to figure something out, because he wants us to look at a situation differently and change our perspective. And maybe the answer isn't going to come like that. Maybe I won't have an answer to this question for years. I don't know. But I think there's more to love your neighbor than just accepting whatever choices people are making in life. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for coming over. And if you have any comments about this, I would love to hear them. Maybe you have the answer. I have no idea. But I wanted to put it out there in the universe, and I know that God is going to show me what an application of love your neighbor looks like. And I think it looks different than what the world has been telling us. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in another brand new video. Bye for now.